This company called Supernote sent me one of their products, and they essentially make tablets that mimic paper. So if you have like a Kindle, for example, it's very similar technology to that. So everything is black and white, and it feels really different from an iPad. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm obsessed with it, and I'm gonna use it to brainstorm some pin ideas because I have been having a really hard time getting back into drawing post-move, so having everything be black and white and the interface be so like simple has been really helpful. So I've been obsessed with it. Like, cute. So I'm gonna brainstorm some pin ideas. I am gonna repeat some from last time, but let me see what I can come up with. This was the beginning of like kind of my first normal week of work. I have been working here and there on and off however I can since I started unpacking, but this has been my first week where like my studio is fully set up and I just am back to my normal work schedule. And I really wanted to dive back into drawing, especially digitally, because drawing is just my favorite, but it was not working out for me. I just could not figure out what I wanted to draw. I had the motivation, I had the energy, but I just had no inspiration. So usually when that happens to me, specifically with drawing, and I can't get into my sketchbook either, I usually have to turn to a different medium. There are less decisions that need to be made during the creative process because that's really essentially what creating is, right? It is problem solving and decision making throughout your project essentially. And drawing, I would say, drawing and painting, I would say there's a lot of decision making there. There is a lot of problem solving there. And that's not to say that something like this that I'm doing, which is like embroidery, sewing, a little bit of fabric work, there is still decision making, there is still problem solving, but it just doesn't fry my brain as much as drawing does. So this is always a nice way for me to get that reset and also get back into creating. It definitely helped because once I was through like my second felt pin on this day, I was like, ugh, I just want to draw. And then I started drawing on my iPad. Whenever we got our Riso digital duplicator, my partner and I actually made the decision to start sort of this independent printing project. And we call it that because we're not really offering printing services as of right now. You know, while we learn our Riso and as we refine our skills, we are just like making our own stuff. We're making zines, we're making prints, we are printing my partner's photography. We are about to start vending our stuff at events that we vend at. We actually sort of debuted our stuff a couple weeks back, and I just gotta do some branding when it comes to it. You know, we gotta make these little cards, just give people information about our little project.
La felicidad como una luz fugaz. Trato siempre de pensar
Literally nothing was jammed. So, a little bit of a riso tip for you. Whenever I was making my masters and my test prints, they were coming out pretty faded, like especially this very first one, super faded. Normally, when they come out like this, it doesn't mean that the scanner isn't scanning well or that my printer just isn't printing well. It just means that usually, like, the master hasn't had the chance to get like fully coated in ink in one pass. So I just went ahead and started printing them, and they ended up by the very end being very saturated. I learned that after a few times of printing on my little riso that whenever it looks like weirdly faded like this, even if my master, like my printout, is like completely black, which whenever something is completely black, it should scan it and put like 100% color. I figured out that that means that the master is still a little bit dry. It's not like super saturated. And that tends to happen to me a lot also if I haven't used a color in a while. And since we just moved, you know, I haven't used my riso other than like the black ink. So, a little random tip slash fact.
Ver el cielo cambiar de color, sentir el aroma de una flor, poder cantar del menor a mayor, respirar y llenarme de amor.
Kinda messed up the cutting. I made these a little bit too thin, but these turned out pretty well. Okay, so I've warmed up a bit when it comes to drawing now, so I am gonna work on a little tattoo flash sheet that I am sending out to some mutuals up in Dallas because they're gonna offer tattooing at one of their first ever events. So I'm just gonna sit here and doodle that and see what I come up with. So yesterday I kind of had a tough time getting into my creative flow. I mean, I have been for a few weeks now just because of the move, but yesterday I was having a really tough time because I have the energy and motivation to draw. I just don't know what to draw. But when I was in bed last night, I decided to just revisit this Pedro Pascal sketch that I had sitting in my Procreate. I didn't paint it right away because it just wasn't working out for me. But I was sitting in bed and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna force myself to get through the ugly stage because that's always what stops me from starting digital portrait painting. So I pushed myself through the ugly phase and then it turned out really good. Like, usually when I do digital portrait painting, immediately I will see like some stuff that I don't like, and I'm sure later on I'll look back on it and be like, wow, that sucks. But that's always a good sign because that means that you're improving. I finished it and I was like, whoa, okay, I kind of went off with this. Like, this actually turned out really, really good. And I'm just super happy with it right now. Like right now I'm enjoying myself, I'm proud of myself, and I might even like start another one today just to keep the ball rolling, to keep remembering that feeling of what it's like to be painting a portrait digitally, because that's another thing that tends to happen with me with digital painting is I kind of tend to forget how to do it. Like I forget how to get it started because I forget how it feels. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but that's the only way that I can describe it. But that's basically what happens to me. So I feel like I need to do it a couple more times just so I can like keep remembering in my brain like my techniques and what I like to do when I digitally paint. This is so cool. I've never made a sticker out of like my digital painting or anything. Earlier in the week, you guys saw me make this felt pin and then this one as well, and I kind of started to get a little bit overwhelmed thinking about making a bunch of different pins. So this is like a tried and true design. This is one that I made last time and that I really, really love. So I just decided to make a bunch more. I made 4 more and it took me 2 hours, which is crazy. So here's this one. This one is really different. In my felt stuff, I tend to use a lot of like pinks and oranges. So this one turned out like a lot more cool toned, but I think it's really cute. And I used that yellowish green thread here as well. And this is a new thread. I got it yesterday, but I think it looks really, really cute. I made this combination and then I made this darker one. I like to have all kinds of like color options and stuff for people, but I really like them. They ended up Really nice. I sewed the back on and it's much better than when I hot glued some of them last time. So yeah, like I said, it took me 2 hours to make 4 of them. So that kind of like drained all of my creative energy. So I honestly have just been like doing house chores and just like low energy stuff because I was just like so focused on doing this and I don't really have much motivation or creative energy left. But they turned out cute and now I have 6 felt pins done and I would like to have maybe 20 in total because I think now I'm starting to enter a phase where I'm just focused on Sprinkle Trinkle Town, which is an event that I do like twice a year. It's my biggest event personally. I don't do a lot of cons or I'm not someone who's like selling at multiple events a month, but I do like to do one like at least once a month or maybe once every other month. And so Sprinkle Trinkle is always like my biggest profit. So I am trying to basically plan for it. It is a month away, so I'm just starting to make product for it now that I am coming out of my moving phase. I'm opening up a little treat that I got over the weekend. It is part of a zine trade. So this is a little package from Roxy, aka What's a Roxy. I watch her videos here on YouTube and she lives like my fine art dreams essentially. I don't even know what video I was talking about zines, but she commented on one of my videos and she was like, let's do a trade. And I was like, okay. So she sent me a few extra goodies and her zine, which reminds me, I gotta send her my zine because we kind of agreed to this while I was moving and I told her I was like, so down to do this, but just keep in mind mine might take a little bit longer. But I did see that she just came out with this zine and this is so beautiful. Wow. Literally so beautiful. I do get questions and I've had some comments about like how can one get into the zine scene in a way, I guess. And honestly, zines were introduced to me through community and like in real life more so than online. So I recommend reaching out to people, trying to look for your local zine community because sometimes, there will be like zine workshops, stuff like that, or finding people in your area online and then like, wanting to be like, hey, you want to trade zines? But yeah, now this guy gets to sit on my zine shelf. were correct. The 75% row right here isn't really standing out too much, but it's fine because at least I know that now. Like whenever I format artwork to print on here, at least I know like for 75% I need to make it like actually more like 70 for it to actually show a difference from like the 100%, which on the pink you can kind of see it. Super faint, but yeah, now I finally have this for like my reference and I don't have to guess. The point of these riso swatches is essentially to learn how the colors lay down on one another. You can kind of guess on Procreate and mess around with the layer modes and such to get a close idea to how your prints could turn out depending on the colors, but these swatches show you exactly how things will look, and like I mentioned, I have so many different colors of paper that it's nice to see how the colors look on each paper. It's especially important with risograph printing because it's not like a printer that it will use the CMYK to essentially replicate what is on your screen. This riso printer functions in a way that's kind of like screen printing, so it will lay down one color, and like you've seen me do, I have to switch to the next color and then lay down another, so on and so forth. The ink just lays down differently, and you can get pretty close to what you see on your screen, but it honestly, in my opinion, there's a really big difference. So it's nice that I have these swatches now. They're not like amazing, but they will do for now. So before closing out today's vlog, I wanted to quickly talk about our sponsor, which is of course Squarespace, a very long-time supporter of this channel. And if you do not know who Squarespace is, they're an all-in-one platform where you can create your very own website. And it is the platform that I have always used to run my website, my online art business, and my portfolio. Their Fluid Engine design interface is so easy to use. Essentially what it means is you get to click, drag, and drop elements wherever you want. It has made it super easy to customize my website and change it up whenever I need to, because my website needs are pretty constantly changing, so that has been super helpful. Commerce Tool also makes it very easy to run my online art business on there. It keeps track of my inventory, all of my customer data, all of my orders. So if you are interested in Squarespace, you can go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and you can use my code for 10% off your first purchase.